Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Corporate Gamer Podcast. I am your host, Corporate Gamer, and today we are having another episode where we talk about games. There were a few things. I didn't have too much news today, but there was something that came up brand new today, so we're going to talk about it. And I hope that everybody had a great week. Hope that everybody is safe and sound. Even though there's confusion and people, I think, are going cabin crazy. I really, really hope that you guys are safe and that you're continuing to enjoy your games. I know I have, and we're going to talk about it a little bit further on in the rundown, where I played a few games this week, and there was one in particular that I was looking forward to. You guys heard about me talk about it last week. Streets of Rage 4, which is awesome. But before we get into it, today what I want to do is to provide my input on the my YouTube channel of the week that I actually actively watch, and I watch on a regular basis. Then we're gonna go into the top stories of the week, where we're gonna have Assassin's Creed, the new Assassin's Creed Valhalla reveal and trailer that got released this week, and that's gonna be my input on that. I'm gonna give a mini review on the campaign or story mode for Streets of Rage 4. I played it last night, including one of my viewers as well. Played it on his stream as well, Psychosis, and we were both like going gaga over it. We were going nuts, but it was awesome. The short end of that is it was awesome. And then there's a new thing that came out today from Jeff Keighley. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. Uh, Wait, that's not it. That's not it. Is it? No, that's not it. What's his name? It's the guy that used to be at E3. He used to host E3 every year. Why can't I remember his name? Yeah. Boy. No, that's the thing. Jesus. Jeff Keighley. That's it. I was right. Jeff Keighley. Um, yeah. So announcing that there's going to be something that's kind of going to replace, I guess, the gaming companies. It's going to run from May to August. Um, and I guess before this whole thing started, there was this whole thing about him leaving, um, E3, and there was a whole kerfuffle about that and this and that. And now he's announcing this, so we're gonna talk that a little bit, and it kind of segues into what I wanted to talk about. And I've been saying this for a while, and I'm sure there's a ton of people in the industry that have spoken about this at length. And I've written about it as well as a review as far back as 2017, 2016. And it's about the future of E3 and where it's going. And from my point of view, I'm not somebody that ever went to E3. I'll be honest. I always watched it from the comfort of my own home. Um, I had zero interest in going there. Um, but I'll go into it a little bit first. So it's the future of E3. Will it continue? Will it not? Is it on life support? My perspective on it, and it is what it is. And I'm honestly, I honestly think that I'm the average gamer, and in my opinion, would be about the average gamer. So we're gonna talk about that, and we're gonna go into that. So without further ado, let's go into my favorite YouTube channel, my recommendation for the week. So this kind of goes out a bit to. I was thinking a bit again of Psychosis on his channel. He's a big Fallout 4 fan, and there's a lot of people on my channel that do like Fallout and the Fallout series. And I came across this randomly when I was trying to get through a mission, and I found this guy Oxhorn randomly, and he has 1.36 million subscribers. But it's not as if like hear a lot of people talking about him. It's very subtle when you hear about him. Um, his main claim to fame essentially is taking Fallout 1, Fallout 2, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, and now Fallout 76, taking every storyline from A to Z, explaining it with every possibility. Um, and he releases that on a weekly basis, one or two videos a week. He For a while he did Saturday mornings, but I don't think that happens anymore. I think now it's just randomly since the outbreak came out. And you can see here, he has a podcast or a live cast on YouTube, which I don't really watch. He does stream. He has his Scotch and Smoke Rings episode 556. I'm honest, I don't listen to that. And I apologize, Oxhorn, if you happen to be watching me. But I don't actively watch any of his other stuff other than his videos that he comes out with, and they're so really well made. The videos are really high quality. It's him voicing over the stuff. He goes through every which way, every story. Videos can last anywhere between his streams can be little bit longer. His podcast is an hour, and his streams could be anywhere between an hour and a half and 3 hours, depending on the game. Sorry for all the yawning. Oh crap. Um, and he, but most of his videos are anywhere between 20 minutes and an hour if it's a really intense storyline. But it doesn't feel that long. Like every time I watch him, I'm actually like, oh, and it's a really good way of like I wouldn't watch him if you don't want the game to be ruined, which just makes sense. But Fallout's been out for so long, and he's been doing this for a long time, and he kind of started a few years ago, and he kind of refined his way of doing stuff, and now how he edits videos and stuff like that. Some of his intros are self made. He sings in them and stuff like that. I really encourage you to watch this. It's not for everyone. It's like if you're he does stream quite a bit of different things. Like here, he's been doing Fallout 76 Wastelanders, which could be interesting. He started going through each Fallout 76 character and like every possible way of doing something. So I really strongly suggest you guys can watch this guy. Really good. I really enjoy watching his videos. They're really fun. Um, the last now he's been going through Wastelanders, and he's been actually releasing videos. He can't do every playoff tree, speech tree. Like he can't look at every outcome because the way that Fallout 76 is built. But he does his best to go through each because you would need to have like 8 characters come in and do every like it doesn't make sense. So it doesn't really lend to him doing that, but it's really good. I really enjoy it. I follow him if you guys like him. I know if you guys are fans of Fallout 4, I'm sure there's going to be storylines where you didn't know you were able to do certain things, even after all these years. And I honestly started watching this with his Fallout 2, and then I went to his Fallout New Vegas because there's so many storylines and so many trees and so many ways that a story can unfold. And now I went to and then he started releasing Fallout 4, and now I'm into his oh boy, rough week. And now I'm into his Wastelanders because I'm not gonna play. I'll be honest with you, Fallout 76. I have zero interest of playing. I tried to play it, and I'm sorry, man. It just lost me. Apparently, Wastelanders adds that Fallout touch to me personally, and this is me, and a lot of other players have enjoyed it. They've had a lot of fun with it. There's a lot of people that still stream it. It's not the Fallout that I fell in love with, and I cannot play the game the way that I'm used to playing, and that's fine. It's not that type of game. To me, if they would just remove the survival light mode It's fine. I don't want to think about having to eat, drink, whatever the case may be. I don't give a crap about that. Um, the settlement building is fine. I can live with it. I'm not. I wasn't. I grew on me on Fallout 4. I was really not a fan until recently, where I saw people build settlements, and there's extent. There were mods that were released that make it a lot better. Kudos to that, and it really made the experience a lot better. But Fallout 76, you just disappointed me at one after the other, and and I and the thing is that I really feel bad for the developers because they work really really hard to get something out there that people would like, and I think they really did a lot to try and get the players back with Wastelanders. I think they really did a valiant effort. I just don't think it's I just don't think it's gonna get me back. It left such a bad taste in my mouth. I really didn't enjoy the Fallout 76. Um, uh, like I even the way that the way they promoted private servers, they're not private. So initially, if you listen to the stuff that they mention, private servers, they never mention online always. Private servers are not really private servers, and you're not playing in offline mode. Like I would love to play an online all the time mode. I have no issue. Block it to everyone, and I play my own way. Even if the world seems empty, at least I can discover the game on my own pace. And if there's mods, I could remove the survival mode, and voila, you're done. Now you're kind of not offline. You're still online. You're not restricting anybody. It's kind of like a false private server, and that broke. That just like I was looking forward to that with the expectation, and maybe my expectations were off. I'm completely honest with that. But I was there thinking that okay, I'd be able to have a server on my own, even if I paid $20 or whatever, or $10 a month to have a private server to play. I might have actually paid for it, but because it's not really a real private server, I really don't care. Because I can dish out, especially with Fallout Firsts, which is stupid. Um, I can dish out the money, but I can send it to different friends. Yeah, okay, fine, but like, why am I paying it? Yeah, I could split the cost, but why am I paying it? Like, it doesn't make sense. You can actually get invited for free, which, anyways. Um, and it's a per month charge on top of like. Don't get me started on that. And survival mode. I wasn't a fan of that. And then I was really looking forward for Wastelanders, but it kept getting pushed back, getting pushed back. I do have 76. I bought it day one. It's not installed right now. And on top of that, I heard that you have to be a level 20 to actually start playing the main quest. So I don't even know if I would have enough, like, even if you start at at the lowest level, because I think you can start at a lower level, but there's a point where you have to be a level 20 to continue. Um, so that means that I wouldn't have all the attributes that I would need to have all the dialogue trees that I would want to have, and so on. So it's kind of you kind of have to build your own thing and then go into the game as a level 70, for example, and then start the game to really have a breakdown of everything. Anyways, having said that, all that to say, I'm actually not going to be playing 76, but Oxhorn has been. He's been playing the online stuff. He streamed it a few times. He hasn't really done any videos dedicated to it. He tried a few times, but it really didn't work. Um, but now he's doing Wastelanders, which is more of a traditional Fallout 4 storyline. So he's able to go through it, and I really enjoyed this channel. I've been watching. I've been subscribed now for about a year. And I've been looking at his. You know what? I wake up on Saturday morning and I watch his videos because they normally used to get released on Saturday 9 a.m. Eastern time, and I used to watch it while having breakfast. And that 20 minutes to half an hour was just perfect for me to finish my breakfast, chill out. And now it's a bit different. He does release during the week, but still, I really enjoyed it. So, Mr. Oxhorn, um, If you guys like him, subscribe. And if you guys have any recommendations, or if you have any comments about this channel, this recommended channel, let me know in the chat. Let me know if you're watching this after the fact in the YouTube comments below. All right, next. This week, there was a brand new announcement by Ubisoft for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is basically Vikings, and it's their new Assassin's Creed. It looks like it's going to be along the same lines as Origins and Odyssey, but it does look fantastic. It's by the end of the video, it hints at a holiday 2020 release, which would tentatively mean that it would be available on newer consoles, if available, of course, and there's no delays. Tentatively, it would be released on there. I'm assuming it would be also backwards compatible to the current gen, which is PS4 and Xbox One. So let's look at the video together.
They are heartless.
I find the video is a little bit choppy. There we go.
Godless barbarians. They murder and kill blindly. They scour the lands of England. Lands they will never defend, never love. The time has come to speak to them in a language they will understand.
Booyah!
Somebody tell me.
I have to admit, right there, that looked really, really freaking good. Like, the character model. I know this is a cinematic trailer. It's probably not gameplay footage, but it looks so freaking good. And this is in 1080p, so I'm assuming it's going to be released in 4K as well, or pseudo 4K, or it's going to upscale the 4K. The last two games looked phenomenal. Origins I really, really enjoyed, and Odyssey I really enjoyed. They looked phenomenal. And there were many times where I was, on the lookouts, looking around. I was just looking at the islands, Greece, Athens. It was so freaking, and the pyramids, it was really even better. The pyramids, you went on top of the pyramids and you actually looked at all of Egypt. It was really, really cool, really awesome, and it looked phenomenal. And it looks like it's continuing that trend here. So I'm really looking forward to see how it looks.
is with us!
What a headbutt. He's dead, Jim.
What is the soul of
There we go. Assassin's Creed Valhalla Holiday 2020. I loved everything about this Assassin's Creed. Now, I have to admit, I've been a fan of Assassin's Creed since the very first one. I actually didn't play the first one right away. My first my first toe into the game franchise was Assassin's Creed 2. Then I played 3, Revelations, Unity, Black Flag. I played most of them. Even the crappy ones, the ones, the Chronicle ones, which are not that great. And I was the first one to say that when Unity came out, and that's when Unity and Black Flag came out of the same year, which was really, really odd. I think people had Assassin's Creed fatigue. Black Flag was very fun. It had elements as well. Unity was actually pretty good if you got past the technical issues in the game. It was actually pretty fun. I really enjoyed it, but it had a lot of bugs. And even back then, I had said, it'd be good to take a step back because they were releasing games right, left, and center, and people were like, "It's enough already. We don't need an Assassin's Creed every year or twice a year, right?" And they actually, to their to their credit, they actually took a step back, and then they started working on Origins. And Origins was a really good game. It wasn't perfect, but it was a really good step in the right direction. They did a lot of new things right. The controls were right. The story, I found Origins more. It felt more repetitive than Odyssey. Odyssey, you had side quests which were varied, right? So one would be a fetch quest, another one would be to help out somebody in the village another time. Whereas Origins, really, you did the same thing over and okay, these guys killed these guys, go find them, kill them, go back, get a reward. Like it was the same thing over and over. It was like Groundhog Day. So they actually did a really good job in Odyssey of eliminating that. So basically, the way I always portray, or I always said Assassin's Creed Odyssey is, it's Assassin's Creed Origins that was tweaked, and they made the tweaks to Origins and they made Odyssey, and it went fine. I had a lot of fun. I didn't play the DLC for Assassin's Creed. I didn't buy the Ultimate Edition like they do every year. I'm not a big fan of DLCs, to be honest, in most cases. Um, Unless I buy a Game of the Year edition, I don't really play the DLCs. Um, to me, I guess in the 90s was expansion packs, but expansion packs felt more like, in most cases, it felt more like it was a shorter version of a new game. At least it added a value to have it separate. DLCs very often feel like they were removed from the game just so that they could make money after the fact. And the best example of that, and I love this franchise. It was Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. Mankind Divided had two DLCs, and you have the best of both worlds in the two DLCs. One DLC, System Rift, actually takes place in the middle of the game. Technically speaking, it takes place like about halfway through the game. There's a section, There's a part of it that this is part. It's like a side mission for that game, and they decided to make it into a DLC. Now the DLC didn't make sense in the sense that it removed all of your attributes or whatever during the game, so you kind of had to start from scratch, which kind of sucked. And it didn't really have a good reason for you for losing your attributes. It was just like, oh, it's a new DLC, you lose your attributes. Whereas um, Criminal Past, a Criminal Past, was a completely different experience. It was a standalone. It felt like a Deus Ex game. It didn't feel like it was part of the original gameplay. It was its own thing. It was a prequel to the game. It felt great. It played great. It lasted about 15 hours, 12, 15 hours to complete it, and it was phenomenal. I really, really enjoyed it. It's really something and that's the best of both worlds. And the reason why I bought the DLC is I just like Deus Ex and I bought it. But in majority of the cases, I didn't. And the only one I'm regretting not getting, to be honest, is uh, Witcher 3. Because I don't have the Game of the Year edition. So I'm thinking that maybe I don't know if the one on Game Pass is the Game of the Year edition, but if it does, I'll download it and then I'll play that. Because even the DLCs are like 40 hours of gameplay. I think they're both 20 minimum. I think, or one is 15 and one's 25 or something along those lines, which is fantastic. It's really fantastic, and and I really um, and I really enjoyed the main game. Um, so to me, I don't really buy the DLCs. However, the main story was phenomenal, and I think Assassin's Creed Odyssey was about 80 hours of gameplay. I didn't do all the side quests or anything. At one point, I was like, I just want to get it over with. Because as you notice from my streams, I don't exactly stream for 6 hours a night. So a game could last me a long time. The Witcher 3 took me 35 streams. 37 streams, sorry. Roughly anywhere between 2 to 3.5 hours. Fridays I used to stream a little bit longer. But that's a freaking long game. That one lasted 100 and something hours, which is insane. It's phenomenal. Um, and please disregard the barking if you hear that. We're getting groceries. So that's the reason for my dog barking. All right, so this is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm really looking forward to it. I've been a fan of the last two games. I think they've done it right. They haven't rushed them out of the gates. The storytelling is phenomenal. The voice acting is awesome. I really enjoyed the Greece, especially in Odyssey. It was really really phenomenal, and it also adds mystique to the history of Assassin's Creed, and it's really really cool. And I kudos to Ubisoft for that. Next on the list. So last night I had the pleasure of downloading, and which is, by the way, is available on Game Pass on Xbox. Now apparently some people have said they've had issues with the Xbox version or the PC version on Ultimate, and I'm assuming that's going to be resolved at some point. And I don't know. I didn't suffer any issues. However, I only played the main quest, the story mode. Um, and this is going to be a mini review. It's going to be an in-depth review because I haven't really played any of the other modes other than story. I can only talk in terms of the story mode and how I think about it. So I was looking and appropriately right now I have IGN up, and I was looking at the review this morning of Streets of Rage 4 because I wanted to see how they thought about it. And I don't know, they gave it a 7 on 10 or something, which I find it a little bit low. And the way they kind of describe the game, it's like, while the story is very paper thin, it doesn't reinvent the genre, it really doesn't do anything really great. It's okay. It's a nostalgia trip. And I I don't agree with that. Yes, if you were playing the game's Streets of Rage for the story, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. um, I never found the story terribly appealing. Any Capcom beat 'em ups didn't have a really big story. They're the equivalents of 80s action with no storyline. It's typical. I know I keep returning to that periodically, but that's how I feel. It's just that type of that type of of game. Um, I love the look and feel of the game. Number one, it's phenomenal. The updated graphics. I actually really like the cutscenes as well. They're kind of comic book cutscenes with type like there's no voiceovers. It's just the bottom. At least I didn't hear any voiceovers. The one I played with subtitles at the bottom. The only thing I'm gonna say, because I like to read stuff right when I'm playing the game, and it would have probably been a little bit better if they allowed you to go between the different scenes. Um, because there was no talking. Um, it would have been nice to actually be able to read something and then press like A to go to the next slide or next screen or whatever. In a lot of cases, it used to go way too fast on the screen, and I couldn't read it to the because I'm not gonna read it super fast on stream. I usually take my time to read stuff, and it was a little too quick. Often, it used to get off the screen before I was able to finish. That was a bit of a bummer, I must admit. But in most cases, it'd be fine. The cutscenes don't really add anything, really. It's just adding to the next cutscene, like basically the next section of the game. Um, the game is a little bit longer than predecessors. I'm gonna go with my go-to, which is Streets of Rage 2. That game, even at the harder difficulties, can probably take you an hour and a half max. And this one took 2.5 on easy mode. Um, so it's actually pretty. It's longer than the other games previous to that, which is great. It's awesome. It's the same format where you have like stages, where you have like in this case there's 12 stages, and you go through them, and every stage has its own boss, which is cool. It's fine. Um, the only thing I would thought maybe would have been good is you have 12 stages, which is basically an area or it's the game. What would have been cool is if you had like 12 stages and that was like one level or world, and then you have another 12 stages, which is another world, and another 12 stages, and and build a storyline based on that and a beat 'em up, and you can make it last a long time. I understand what they were going for here, but I think that would have added a little bit more playability. Um, but still, it's a beat 'em up. It's fine. I'm not gonna get into the characters too much, just because some of them you can unlock from the original games. Some of them you can they're new characters, and like previous games, some are quicker, some are slower, some are just right, and you pick the one that you like personally to play. Um, I found the ones that I had the choice with at the beginning didn't feel right for me. Some of them were quick, but they didn't necessarily have stamina or strength. Whereas the one that had the strength had zero freaking speed. But that's me, and that's how I play. But again, once you start playing and you unlock characters, you can actually pick your you can pick the character you want, and it's fine. I ended up picking Adam, which is an unlockable about a quarter of the game in, or halfway the game in, and he's the perfect guy. He actually looks like, if you look at him, he looks like the cop in the TV show, the cartoon Cops. He's like the I don't know if you guys remember that show at all. I'm probably the only one, where he where he's uh, the tagline I think was it's a crime in a future time or something along those lines, and it's basically a cop and the kingpin. See, it was really fun. Anyways, for me, he looks like that. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the gameplay. Some levels seem some stages don't seem so in traditional Streets of Rage games, at least from what I remember, they progressively get harder, which you get here, but they're kind of the you go from one to the other, and it's like a progression towards the end. Here, some levels or stages seem to be uneven. There's one stage that's super long, and then there's another one that's super short, and you're like, "Oh, I'm done." It's a little bit off-putting because you're like, "Oh, I'm done." But some of them are super long. Like I think the first level was insanely long. I don't remember why. I don't know why they made it that long. But anyways, or at least it felt that way when I was playing it. Um, and they added different modes. You have arcade mode. Basically, you have to play it once through. They show you at different difficulties which ones you beat. You gather points as you're playing, and as you're gathering points, you can unlock characters. Um, that's basically it. You can have an online mode with co-op. You can do local co-op with 4 players, at least on the Xbox. Um, you can play online. You can play. You can find matches. So I'm gonna play that a little bit. I haven't really done that. You can actually choose retro theme. So the one I chose was Streets of Rage 2, the main theme, and it was phenomenal. You can actually choose that for the game, which is awesome. And the next time I play through it, I'm gonna do it, and I'm probably gonna play it. I don't know if I'm gonna play it tonight, but I'm definitely going to be playing it. Um, I'm definitely gonna be playing it this weekend for sure. It's a fun beat 'em up. Um, I guess it's a nostalgia trip in a sense for everyone that kind of played Streets of Rage back in the day. Um, but to me, it's just a beat 'em up. It's a game. It's maybe not a game that you would just pick up and play. Like Streets of Rage 2, I can pick up and play, and I'm done in an hour. Here, it can take you a little bit longer. So it's not as easy to pick up and play, but it's still a game it's still going to be fun to play. And when it gets released, or if it's not when it's not on Game Pass anymore, I'm probably gonna buy it. For sure, I'm gonna buy it. This was phenomenal. Anyways, Streets of Rage 4. I think it's a good game. I think it's better than what most people give it. It's a throwback to those beat 'em ups, which I was saying during the stream yesterday on my channel. Um, I miss those arcade games. I miss those arcade sports games. Um, the NHL hits of this world, or the WrestleFests of this world. I miss them. You go into an arcade now, it just doesn't feel the same. Here in Montreal, we have a couple left. One of them is more traditional. You walk in, it's like you're putting tokens. You exchange your money for tokens. Whereas other one, it's you pay at the door and you have like retro games and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. But having said that, there's not a lot of arcades out there, and I don't think they ever reinvented arcades properly. Now, this is in North America. In Tokyo and Japan, it's super popular, but here it's not something that I particularly enjoy going. That doesn't really. There's no added value to going to the arcade. One of the reasons you used to go to your arcade is because the games were unique, and the graphics didn't match what you had at home. And then once you started having ports that were almost better than the arcade, then what's the point? And also, it's expensive now. The new games that come out, they're like something like $2. Well, at least in Canada, they're like $2 for a game. Okay, if you're a kid, that's expensive. I know there's inflation, but come on. Even when we were kids, we had $1. We'd be like, oh, great. And you had like 4 games plus pinballs if you really if your arcade had that. Here there's nothing. It's like, okay, state of the art. Here's Dance Dance Revolution. Here's $2. Okay, great, right? Um, so yeah, I recommend Streets of Rage 4. If you have Game Pass, please play it. I know there were some bugs on the PC side, but if you have an Xbox, that's a no-brainer. Pick it up. It's fun. If you just want to play the story, just play the storyline. I'm gonna play the multiplayer just to check to see, or the co-op just to see how it is. But I don't know if it's something I would play long term. But I'm gonna try it out. and see how it is, and let you guys know. And I'm probably going to be doing a few reviews. So my Streets of 4 review will probably be a two-parter. It'll probably be the single player aspect, and then I'll have the multiplayer aspect, and then you will have those together. So that is it for that. Next story. Um, Apparently, this was released this morning. There's going to be a. This is something that was announced by Jeff Keighley, formerly of E3 fame, and amongst other things. To give you a little bit of context, before this whole pandemic came out, he came out, I forget what, I think in February, saying that he wasn't coming back to E3 to host E3. I think that was him, or the Gaming Awards, or something along those lines. He wasn't doing that, and I guess this is what he was thinking of doing. Um, so here it's called Summer Game Fest, and it's going to go from May to August 2020, and basically it's going to be a congregation of all announcements of all different types of games. So this is from Polygon. I think everybody reported it on it, but I mean, and I'm going to read this because it's not actually too long, so I'm going to read it for you guys. In the absence of the annual E3 gaming convention, publishers and developers are filling the void with digital events of their own. On Friday, the Game Awards creator, Jeff Keighley, announced his E3 2020 replacement, Summer Game Fest, described as a blend of breaking news, in-game events, and free playable content. Summer Game Fest will run from May to August and has buy-in from the long list of developers and publishers, including 2K, Activision, Bandai Namco, Bethesda, Blizzard Entertainment, Bungie, CD Projekt Red, Digital Extremes, Electronic Arts, Microsoft, Private Division, Riot Games, Sony Entertainment, or Interactive Entertainment, Square Enix, Valve, Warner Brothers, Interactive Entertainment. Those companies will host digital events of their own under the Summer Game Fest brand, and will be broadcast on Facebook, Mixer, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and publishers' own channels. The extent of their participation was not detailed. In a news release, Summer Game Fest organizers said that Steam, Xbox, and other unspecified platforms will offer playable, limited-time demonstrations and trials of select game content. As part of the program, that includes the Valve and Keighley organized Steam Game Festival Summer Edition, which will run June 9th to 14th, the week E3 2020 was previously scheduled to take place. Organizers say the Summer Game Fest will culminate with the previously announced Gamescom opening night live digital event on August 24th. So basically, this is the rebuttal from the industry to every gaming thing being canceled this year. I guess it's the future. Um, it's weird because I don't know why anybody would buy into this from a company's perspective. Yeah, you want as much exposure as possible. Fine, I get it. But they don't need this. Nintendo hasn't needed this for a long time. Clearly, PlayStation doesn't need this. Microsoft, it was the E3 show was pretty much Microsoft's show at this point because everybody backed out. There's people that are in here that have backed out from E3, such as Electronic Arts, Sony Interactive Entertainment. I think Activision had also backed out. But in any case, it's one of those replacement things. Will it work? I guess. But this makes me think of an IGN with demos. But instead of having opinionated pieces, it's just going to be a congregation of. I just don't. I don't know. I guess that's the future. I just don't know. And it's from May to August. So basically, you're going to get the news the same way as you get normal news. So when there's an announcement, you'll see it you'll have a bunch of people reporting on it, and you'll have your Twitter feed, Facebook feed, whatever feed, It's going to be packed with a bunch of information. I just don't see what the appeal. And by the way, I just read this like literally before going live. I didn't even know this existed. I wasn't going to talk about it, but I saw that it was released today, so I was like, um, yeah. Which kind of this leads me to my next point as well, which is um, the aspect that I wanted to talk about, which is basically E3. And I've been mentioning this for a long time, where I have my thoughts. I've been having skepticism from E3 from as far back as February 2017, and even before then, I was still. And in this case, I wasn't even talking about E3 specifically. This was the year that they had announced that regular non-media people could attend E3, and I think they were opening up the floor and so on and so forth. Um, and I went through the history of everything, but at the end of the day, so and at the beginning of the podcast, I kind of said that this is my take on it, and it's where I come from. Um, I don't spend money to go to E3, and I think that's the majority of the people. The majority of people will sit on their couch, get their games, watch the announcements, they're stream the announcements, but they're not going to go to the actual conference. Uh, Majority of people don't. Um, and the problem is you're buying this ticket for I don't know how many hundreds of dollars to have the privilege of playing some games, and then now in the last few years, and this is way before too, February 22nd, 2017 is when I wrote this review. Um, it's like it's been going downhill. Um, there's years where I haven't heard as much buzz for a lot of games. You hear the buzz for the big things, the Bethesdas, the Microsoft, the PlayStations, but EA wasn't there last year, wasn't going to be there this year. PlayStation wasn't there last year. Everybody expected them to be there this year. They weren't there. They were going to do their own thing. Uh, Basically, E3 was the Microsoft show at this point. Even Nintendo had a presence, but they really didn't do a Nintendo Direct. A Nintendo Direct normally is in. They had a video. Usually, they would have a video. They wouldn't even have a presentation. They would just have a video of 20 minutes to half an hour, detailing different games coming out. But their main flagship thing is in January. The Nintendo Direct in January, usually January, February. So people were backing out more and less people were going to these conferences. So they decided to open up the floodgates to make a little bit more money because they were losing money to civilians, and they allowed I don't know how many at the time. I don't remember what it was. I think it was 10,000 people. I think. Uh, yeah. So this is from 2017, and this is what I had written. The year E3 announced that they will allow for the first time regular fans, non-press, to purchase tickets to attend this big event. Tickets will be priced at 250 USD, which is roughly 325 Canadian. However, if you are quick enough and purchased your tickets in February on February 13th, 2017, you will be eligible for the early bird special. Tickets will only be 150 USD. Again, 225 Canadian. This will allow fans to be like the big boys and potentially get their hands on the newest games that are going to come out. It will allow access to presentations on the floor. Last year, E3 toyed with the idea by having an E3 live event in Los Angeles Convention Center. According to organizers, it was such a success that they decided to open the floor to the public, which is bullshit because um, it's not bullshit. It was popular, but they just wanted to make more money. They just wanted to find another revenue stream, and advertisers were pulling out too. And that was 2017. And this made waves. That's why I think you heard about E3 because a lot of people went. I'm not a conference guy. I'm not a guy that's going to go to a conference. I just don't do that. I have better things to spend my money on. I honestly, It's great for networking, I guess. And as a gaming channel, it's easy for me to say, oh, well, you should go to this, you should go to that, and maybe I should go to those, but I don't have to. The information is at is on my fingertips. I can go on YouTube to get the same information. I can look at the internet. I can do run searches. I can get a gazillion sources of people that actually went there and got the information. Like IGN, they're able to visit the majority of things because they have access to it. As a regular customer, a regular guy going to E3, you think I'm gonna have the time to look at everything? Of course not. The lineups are way too fucking long. It's just the way it is. It's not. So to me, it's a waste. And often, forget this pandemic, but often you go to a conference, you come back sick. You have the cold, you have the flu. Even in the middle of summer, you get something from there. You catch something. CES is notorious for this. Um, so I don't really know if it's really worth it. It'd be good to actually see some voice actors that are there that I really appreciate, and I hear their voice acting in the games. It'd be cool for a few things, but to me, it's not worth the price of admission, and I can get the information myself. So for that, for me, E3 was never really that big. I covered it the last few years because I'm a gaming channel and I kind of wanted to. Um, but I don't know of like I don't know if I would pay that money to go see it. Now this year, because of the pandemic, because everybody was pulling out of E3 already before everything was shut down, um, and I think this might have been a blessing for E3 in disguise. I don't know if they'll be back next year or not. I hope they are, but I don't know if they will be. Um, this is the time for them to rethink their strategy of how they approach this, because the old way of doing things it's an archaic way of doing things, and you have to move with the times. And I know numerous analysts, bloggers, and so on have stated the fact that a lot of the big companies don't need anything to actually um, to promote their stuff, right? The best example I heard, which is actually really true, is the PS5 reveal. All it was is it was on Twitter and they tweeted it, and it made headlines everywhere, which is proof that you don't need it. And like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, another example, it got released on their Twitter and everything. It's even on LinkedIn, on the LinkedIn Ubisoft page. They actually promote it. It's everywhere. So I didn't need to have this big reveal, number one. And number two, big reveals at E3 haven't happened in a long freaking time. Everything gets leaked the week before or two, even a month before. So when you get to the game, when you get to the actual conference, there's no more surprise. The whole idea before, when Twitter wasn't such a thing and leaking information wasn't such a thing, yeah, there were surprises at E3. Like, holy shit moments. Like, this is really fucking cool. The last thing that I remember, I think, because I didn't hear it beforehand, so I'm hoping that this wasn't the case, um, was the announcement of Fallout 4 in July for a November release. And everybody went, holy shit, there's a game coming out now that was never like really announced, really, or there wasn't much information about it. And that was a holy shit moment. Oh crap, something big is being revealed. Eh. And even this year, if it would have happened, PlayStation wasn't going to be there. So they would have they haven't done yet, but I'm assuming at one point they're going to reveal they revealed the controllers. Okay, great. Eventually, I'm assuming they're going to be revealing the actual machine. I'm hoping. But they would have done it on their terms. They would have done it at a PlayStation conference or announced online, or it would be an online event where they would have announcement. Now they did something similar for, which was a disaster. It was so boring. That's going through the specs of the PlayStation 5, which is fine, I understand, but they still didn't reveal the actual machine itself. So I'm hoping that they actually have something. In any case, I have a good inkling that I have a feeling they're gonna be everything's gonna be delayed. It's impossible, or if it is released, there's gonna be a shortage of everything, especially for a holiday season. Um, People are gonna order online. This thing that we're going through right now is not gonna get let go anytime soon. September is gonna come around. Probably is gonna be a second wave of COVID. So they're not, it's not something that's, and before you order it, you get it. Like everything was delayed. So I don't see this coming in 2020. I think it's going to be early 2021 for both Xbox and PlayStation. And even Xbox has been backpedaling a little bit. They initially, no, there's no delays. And then they're like, we're not expecting any delays. And then it was, well, we don't know. Shrug. So now they're at shrug, which I'm assuming it means, yeah, they're fucked. Which is fine. It takes a bit longer. As long as I can play Cyberpunk 2077 on my current Xbox One S, I'm gonna be super happy. I don't give a crap because that game is gonna last me for at least 3 months of streaming alone. Um, and that's the next big game that I'm looking forward to. There were a few games that came in along the they were supposed to get released and they got pushed back. The only one really I'm looking forward to is Cyberpunk 2077 because I love The Witcher 3. And I should probably play Witcher 2 as well. I haven't played it. And I think there's references to 2 and 1, but I never really played it. So I don't really fully know the story, but I love The Witcher 3. The details was so freaking beautiful. And I have trust in CD Projekt Red and they delayed the game. It was supposed to get released today in April, but they delayed it to September because they needed to tweak it to make it better. And I don't care. As long as it's good when it gets released, I don't care. I rather they do that than rush it out the door, have 8 weeks of patches that come out through the door, and everybody disses the freaking game. See Fallout 76, and then take it from there. A lot of people as well, like for Mankind Divided, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was supposed to come out in February and it got released in August. And I'm happy they did that. They tweaked it, they did what they need to do, and they released it. Now, there were a few bugs here and there, I think. Some people did have some issues. I personally never had issues with Mankind Divided. But hey, it is what it is. So, all that to say, like, E3 to me is like there's people like that I've been watching, like Victor Lucas from Electronic Playground or Electric Playground, um, and a few others similar like gaming reporters and gaming blogs that they have a soft spot for E3, and I can understand why. Some of them have gone to E3 since 1995. It's been 20 years in the making, 25 years in the making. It's you go somewhere for 25 years, you're going to be sad if the thing closes down. However, for those that don't have that nostalgia attachment, that have that connection necessarily to E3, I don't think we give a rat's ass. I think, honestly, as long as we can, in today's day and age, the information is so readily available, everything gets leaked. There's no point. And you're going to get the information anyways. I do understand there is something about going to a place and meeting up. Like, I'm sure there's people that used to go to E3 every year, with friends and, their buddies. But I find there's other conferences that do a lot better. Penny Arcade is one, or PAX. AGDQ, which is not necessarily, it's a retro gaming conference, but it's a lot of people that love retro gaming, for example, and they meet there There's not really. It's to raise money for charity, but it's those types of things are going to happen more and more. And I find that PAX does it better. For example, which is a more or game even Gamescom. I don't know the Tokyo Game Show. I don't even know. Like, yeah, there's announcements, but nowadays there's nothing really that impresses anybody, unless you're doing an unveil of some new hardware or something brand new. I don't think there's anything that's going to come from that, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to really cry that E3 is gone. It's been you've been slowly seeing like the like one after the other. Like everybody's kind of pulling out the attraction you had to go there. Nintendo has a presence, but it doesn't have that presence like it used to have. PlayStation is gone completely. Xbox is the only one that's there, and they're not even in. Well, I think they do have a kiosk, but they're not even in there. They have their own theater, which is right beside, and they just do that, right? Which used to be the Nokia theater, I think. Um, so yeah, and I don't know if necessarily the new initiative by Jeff Keighley is going to be the new thing. I think it's an attempt to modernize it, right? Um, but I don't need to log into some place to get the information. I just don't. I would have to see it for myself and see if it's something that's really relevant, but I don't see what the added value of this is. I really don't. Because Microsoft on its own could do their own thing, and they've been doing, and proof of that is they've been doing their own thing all year. They did the gaming awards. They actually released the actual console was released, like the look and feel of it. Um, but I mean, they didn't need E3 for that. There's other conferences that happen, and Microsoft is big enough. I think they can manage to do their own PR. I mean, seriously, especially with the Xbox. Yes, we lost this generation, but there's still a ton of people that love to play on the Xbox, and I think they've Microsoft's PR has done a really really good job in really hyping up Microsoft, the X Series X or the Xbox Series X. I just don't know. I just hope that we're not disappointed by that. But in any case, Microsoft has done all the service that they offer, all the games that they've mentioned, the first party developers that are there. This is going to be spectacular, and this is going to be amazing. And I really am looking forward um, to the next generation, and for PlayStation 2 as well, right? They don't need. The case in point was the PS5 logo reveal, which did absolutely nothing for anybody. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I just don't think that the idea an I of gaming getting released um, and gaming announcements or trailers or whatever. I don't know if you need a central point. Not anymore. And let's be honest. I don't know how much this is costing. I'll be honest with you, and I don't know how Jeff is going to be making money. I'm assuming ads and stuff, but I'm not sure. But E3 was expensive, and you had to actually invest money in a kiosk. It wasn't given. It was like expensive. So I mean, now gaming companies are realizing, hey, and it's not as if like a lot of these gaming companies had like a heart to heart with gamers. They didn't. You didn't see the Todd Howards or whatever unless they were on stage. So either I see them on stage from like 100 feet away, or I see them on TV. Eh, it is what it is, right? So do they need to spend that extra money? They have a better reach if they just do it on their own, really. As long as they have a company that does the marketing properly, you're good to go. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Oh crap! This is I just realized that my corporate gamer is super large. Holy crap. There we go. I just realized that now. Holy poops. Um, yeah, so that's it for tonight's show. Hope that you guys liked it. Hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to read my reviews, you can go to aroundtable.ca. The last game that I reviewed was Rise, Son of Rome, which was actually a really good game. A little short, showing its time a little bit. It's been 7 years, and it's at the beginning of the console generation. I'm playing it at the end, and yes, we've made advancements since then. But the visuals for that game are phenomenal, and I think if they could have just invested another year in it, I think they could have done something really, really good. I didn't really play any of them. I tried to play once or twice the multiplayer. Nobody was on, and I was like, eh, and I couldn't get a match, so I said screw it, and I just didn't bother doing it. So that was my review. I haven't done really entertainment reviews recently, um, but my brother has done a few. Spencer Confidential is one of them. Um, he did a few others as well. We have trailers on our website. We also have a comedy bit of the week. We have trailers, movie trailers, music. So pass on by, and if you like what you guys see, you can actually sign up to our newsletter that gets released every 2 weeks with all our reviews, all of our notes. It's not news that we that no. It's not like TMZ or anything. It's news that we think that it's relevant and we like, and like certain celebrities that have passed away, or something that's getting released, like a Picard or something, stuff like that. We don't go into the TMZ's, the paparazzi type of thing. I don't care for that either. Um, and I mostly do the gaming side of things. I review most of the games, and I've been reviewing games, believe it or not, for the last 5 years. I started in January 2015. That's when I started. Oh, I opened up my Facebook page, and then my Twitter, or my Twitter first, then my Facebook page. Then I had my own personal site, which is down now, where I used to release reviews. And then I went to corporategamer.net, and that's down right now because we consolidated with the roundtable.ca. And even a roundtable, we have a podcast that's once every so often. We've been really, really bad with timing. We do about one a quarter now. But we're hoping to ramp that up. We're revamping how things are doing. We're making sure that we're able to do it remotely. We used to try and meet up once a week, once a month to do it, but it gets complicated with work and so on. So we're going to try and do it remotely, but it's been a little bit more challenging than expected. So we're hoping to get a podcast up soon, and hopefully we'll have more content. And I also opened up a sister Twitch channel, a roundtable as well. So I'm hoping that we're going to have content on there as well. Mostly more about entertainment, more talking about music, movies, TVs, and so on. Reviews that we want to do, and so on. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and hope that you guys have a wonderful week. Stay safe, and I shall see you next time. Have a good one, guys. Ciao.